On this week's Tuesday Talk, we are answering a question from a viewer about moving. How often do we move? What's the right frequency to move? Penny is very excited about this topic. Yes. Moving.
So many different styles of travel out there. Some people travel extremely quickly, like every 2 or 3 days. That means you get to see more, but then you run the risk of maybe getting burnt out. But if you have a small period of time where you're only traveling for 2 weeks, or maybe like the summer, for example, and you just want to see a lot of stuff because you're going back to real life afterwards, maybe traveling a little bit quicker is going to be worth it. Even though you are going to be going quite a bit, and you're going to be packing up your stuff and moving and that kind of thing. So go ahead.
Some people just like that. Like, we know
absolutely.
full-timers who travel like that, and it doesn't burn them out. So some people, that's just the right speed for them.
A lot of people start out RVing going fairly quickly because they're excited about it. They get to see new things. It's something new. But then once they kind of fall into their routine, a lot of people that we found, us included, have slowly began to travel more slowly.
Or at least we'd like to.
Yeah.
So I think our ideal speed would be like 2 weeks in a location. And maybe even from one 2 week period to another, we're just switching to a different place in the same city. But 2 weeks stationary in the Airstream would be awesome. I cannot tell you the last time we've had 2 weeks stationary anywhere. So as much as I say that would be our ideal travel style, we don't do it.
We have the best of intentions, but there's always something else that we want to go do or want to go see, or something came up and we want to be here that we didn't plan on before. Those things always happen.
And this coming year, because we're going to the East Coast, we're traveling quite quickly, going to different new places. We are going to be traveling a lot faster than we even have been doing in the past. We're going to 4-night max stays most places.
Yeah, 2019 is going to be interesting.
It's going to be very, very fast moving for us.
Yeah.
Which I think is going to be fun, but I have a feeling next fall we may end up spending a month someplace just to kind of decompress from the traveling during the summer and the spring.
And that is my ideal situation, I think. We've never actually tried this, but I'm getting more and more used to the idea of really slow travel. So we find a place that we like the 395 corridor through California, for example, and we spend a month in a particular area. It may not be the exact same campsite, but in the area, we spend some time there and really get to know the area, and we don't really have to worry about planning the next trip or just picking up and moving quite so often.
Yeah. The reason why I said 2 weeks and not a month is that if you're not paying for a campground, even if you are in state park campgrounds, a lot of time the limits are 14 days. So the max amount of time you could spend boondocking in an area or in a national park, national forest campground or a state forest, a lot of those things you could only stay 2 weeks. So moving every 2 weeks but staying in an area sounds like it would be a lot of fun, but you don't get to see as much. So like Steve said, there are people who travel really fast. There are people who do more the 2 week thing. There are people who go and live seasonally places. So they go to a different place every few months and then they spend months in the location. And then there are people who are stationary and stay like we did the first year in Tucson. We spent our entire year in the Airstream in Tucson. And so there are all different speeds of travel. And I think it just depends on who you are and what you're trying to do and where you're trying to go. And it changes too, like we said. So
I think the most common is 1 to 2 weeks, especially if you're a full-timer. That's in my experience, in our experience, I think.
Yeah.
That seems to be the most common travel style. You will have times where you stay longer or stay shorter, but in general, it works out to a week or two. At most. 2 is the most.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But unless you seasonally just stay in Tucson all winter or something like that, which a lot of people do.
A lot of people do. Yeah. That's right.
So that's it for today's Tuesday Talk about travel and moving days and how often we have them and how often we should have them, etc. Stay tuned for this coming year when we move a lot, but we get to see a lot of cool places.
We're going out east.
It's going to be fun.
That way.
If you have a question for a future Tuesday Talk, please leave it in the comments below. Like this video if you liked it.
Or even if you didn't, give us a thumbs up.
Penny says, give us a thumbs up.
If you hated it.
Penny says, give us a thumbs up.
If you despise us, just
stop watching.
Stop watching. Yeah, stop watching.
Subscribe if you haven't already, and we will see you next time. Bye, guys.
Bye. We timed this all wrong.
Yep.